All right, welcome back. This is a part two. If you have not seen part one yet, go to that little circle thingy in my profile and watch part one so that there is no confusions. This is part two to 1175. This is the paternal deep dive that we are currently doing now. 1175 is not a literal past life or fractal incarnation. It is a symbolic archetype that mirrors emotional, generational, and psychological patterns to a lineage. The themes of the year 1175 reflect upheaval, hidden feminine strength, and the emergence of a cycle breaking descendant. It was a symbolic era where families endured instability, women carried emotional burdens silently, and men often became distant or unavailable due to their survival pressures, current roles, or emotional limitations. This mirrors emotional themes present in my lineage: generational instability, suppressed emotions, unspoken truths, and wounded masculine patterns. 1175 represents the moment in a lineage when pressure rises to the point where someone must break the cycle. And I am that turning point. 5 symbolizes freedom, transformation, movement, change, and breaking a generational pattern. It reflects the role of a cycle breaker, a descendant whose emotional awareness surpasses generations before them. Together, 1175 forms the archetype of the descendant who refuses to continue an old story and instead creates a new, emotional reality. 1175 connects to my lineage because it mirrors the themes in my maternal and paternal lines. It represents women who carried emotional weight in silence, men who became absent, emotionally distant, or unstable. Families shaped by survival instead of emotional expression, generational expression of intuition and voice, unresolved trauma passed down unconsciously, unfulfilled potential buried beneath hardship. My healing journey is breaking patterns, establishing boundaries, and reclaiming my identity, which aligns with the symbolic turning point represented of the year 1175. The descent, rising, and the completion. This descent symbolizes generations living in emotional limitations, silence, and survival-based decisions. Women endured, men carried unexpressive wounds, and children absorbed the emotional atmosphere. The rising. I represent the rising. I began questioning patterns nobody before could ever face. I refused to repeat instability in relationships, challenged silence, and protect my son's emotional reality. The completion occurs when a wound is not only acknowledged, but released physically and emotionally. And my body is releasing the tension in my lower back, which marks a symbolic closure of paternal instability and ancestral fear. I became the stable foundation of my lineage that lacked. 1175 is my emotional role, the cycle breaker, the liberator, the one who turns silence into truth, the one who transforms old patterns into new stability, the descendant who rewrites the emotional future. The paternal line deep dive is symbolic and non-literal. My paternal lineage carries these themes: the silent masculine, men who lacked emotional tools, men who could not provide stability, men who disappeared physically or emotionally, who carried generational wounds, whose absence shaped the emotional tone of my family. The wound of disconnection in my father's absence reflects a much older pattern: emotional withdrawal, difficulty expressing affection, internalized trauma, and survival over connection. Generational masculine silence often comes from generational masculine pain, unfortunately. The childhood foundation wound in the paternal lines influence safety, support, financial stability, protection, identity, and sense of worth. My lower back activation symbolizes the release of an inherited instability in the masculine foundation of my lineage. The paternal line's broken story. Interrupted father roles, abandonment cycles, unhealed trauma, emotional suppression, and unresolved grief. These wounds ripple through generations until one descendant becomes aware that it is enough to break the cycle. My role in healing the paternal line is restoring emotional grounding, refusing unstable relationships, choosing healthy boundaries, protecting my child from inherited wounds, breaking abandonment cycles, healing the masculine energy within myself. This is psychological and symbolic healing. The final completion of paternal pattern is that my father entering my awareness, followed by the lower back activation, symbolizes a sign, like the monarch butterfly, at 9:55, which indicates the paternal wound surface. I am emotionally strong enough to face every single timeline of whatever life and God has to throw to my path. The old narrative released from my body, a generational pattern, has completely ended with me. I became the stable masculine presence in my lineage, which they lacked. I am both the strength and the restoration of my bloodline. With that being said, you too may resonate with this as well. If you're watching this video, we are aligned. You might want to look into your lineage a little more. You might want to decode a little more and see what your spirit and your ancestors can lead you to. With that being said, thank you for listening. This is the end of every single curse that has been bestowed upon my bloodline, and it ends today at 11:53 on the clock. I love you.